Hi, hello, everyone there. Greetings from Athens. My name is Tangavelu Kupusami. I'm currently the president for Malaysian Indian Tour and Travel Association. I'm also the deputy president for Malaysia Tourism Council, vice president of Association of Tourism and Training Institute of Malaysia, ATIM. I'm also in the governing committee of Tourism Productivity Nexus MPC, council member of Kuala Lumpur Selangor Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry. I was the vice president for MATA from the year 2007 to 2013. Currently, I'm also the director for Grand Lotus Travel Agency, Sundrian Berhad. That's our travel agency. I'm also the chartered member of Logistics and Transport, CILT. I hold a Masters of Science in the Transport Planning, University of Technology, Skudai, Malaysia. I'm a master trainer from the ASEAN Tourism Train the Trainer program. I'm also the trainer for TTC and TTMC, recognized by MOTAC and ATIM. I have about 40 over years in the experience in the tourism industry. And today I'm going to speak about sustainability as the new normal, a vision for the future of tourism tour guide. No one could have predicted that COVID-19 would raise a perfect storm, hitting the world economy hard in 2020. By our estimates, 90% of the world's economy will expect to see a contraction this year. This severe downturn means countless people across the world, including in Malaysia, will suffer illness, lose jobs, and livelihoods. The impact of the pandemic is expected to lead to the first increase in global extreme poverty since 1998, effectively wiping out the progress made since 2017. Despite myriad changes, there are encouraging signs that Malaysia is riding out comparatively better. The country's economy rests on strong fundamentals. So we are today on the sustainability as the new normal, a vision for the future of tourism tour guide. The concepts of this program will be the world has changed forever. Everybody knows that, I think. We are practically 2020 is a changed year for everybody. We have to adopt a new norm. So that is the key. And survival of the quickest, we have to think of no more the fittest, but the quickest. And ultimately, it fosters into entrepreneurship to ensure that we look into the new norm of doing the business. The travel industry is resilient. How to survive economic adversity at this moment. In this platform, we take the learnings built up over the past century to provide you with actionable insights into how you can better prepare your travel business for economic adversity. Travel and tourism, indeed, practically it comes together. And in this sense, we can see the tourism industry is badly hit. So tourism is often one of the first industries to feel the impacts of economic adversity. So chances are, if you are experiencing cancellations or a drop in inquiries, your suppliers are also feeling the effects. Indeed, you can see that everything is quiet. Suppliers are quiet, travelers are quiet, airlines are quiet, and your customers are also quiet. And likewise, tourists are also quiet. Likewise, the tour guides also have to be quiet. So this is the best time we check in with suppliers and maintain close business relationships. We use this time to check in with your suppliers, get to know them better, and strengthen our business relationships. Indeed, we can take advantages of quiet period. Normally, tour operators are notoriously busy, and anything that doesn't include sending proposals and securing bookings often falls by the wayside. You can see always, most of the time, tour operators are always busy, and they are always on their headphones. They are always with the customers, connected with WhatsApp, connected in the emails, connected everywhere. But now you can see most of them are practically, there's no job to do. So this is the time to take advantage of the quiet period to do something. So what is the opportunity? Give your travel website a health check. Most of our websites are still like a car, you need maintenance, like an aeroplane, you need maintenance. A website also need a health check. So this is the best time to do a health check. Here, health check in the sense we do some housekeeping in our websites. So ensure the website is updated. Websites are given some vibrance to ensure that it looks better. The next one, our website, we ensure our website security is up to date. Security is essential for websites. Technology, we can see some the websites have been hacked. So this is the best time to prevent hacking and ensure the security is up to date on the websites. We also have to work on our search engine optimization. Google is, we can see from SEO, this is the best time to have some work on our search engine optimization. So everybody should know what is search engine optimization. It is more like we put in our products in Google platform to ensure that we get the best results. In order to get the best result, it should be seen the first 10. Huh? And focus on our social media presence. Social media presence is more like we have to ensure that we present our products in the social media. It's more like Facebook's, Instagram, YouTube, and various other social media, and we focus on that. And take time to review your digital marketing strategy. The current strategy of marketing our products are more on digital. So it is the best time to review our digital marketing strategy. Satisfy your itch to build itineraries and work with your team to craft example itineraries that you can showcase on your website and in other marketing materials. If you are a business owner, now is also a fantastic time to get up to speed on administrative tasks. This is the best time actually you can gather your staffs and give them some talks and time to get on the speed on the administrative tasks. Also, this is an opportunity to also to review the cost. If your products has been prepared and your products has been in the market, you can ensure, you can check and balance how is your cost compared to the others. An unexpected quiet period is also an opportunity to introduce time-saving tour operator software into your business. This is the best time to explore into some of the tour operators softwares. There are plenty of softwares in the market. Technology is now getting bigger and bigger. It is getting very complex. So it is the best time for the tour operators to venture into some new software to ensure that you are in line with the business. Okay, let's get ready for lift off. While this is a difficult time for the entire industry, it is important that business owners remember that it will pass and normality will return. Do you think this COVID-19 will be there forever? No. It is dipping down. Yes, it is dipping down, but it will lift off. it will come up, it will go, it will come back to the norm a day. But when is the day is yet to be known. Normality will return and we have to get prepared. Taking measures to ensure that your business is prepared for an increase in bookings once the crisis has passed will serve you exceptionally well in the future. So it is time for the travel operators, tour guides, anybody in the travel and tourism industry to get prepared. It is a preparation time. Instead of preparing a short term, it is now a long term preparation to take off well once the crisis is over. Don't forget your existing customers and the loyalty you have spent time and effort building. This is the best time to get connected to your customers and spend time on effort building. Keep communicating and focusing your marketing efforts on them. And look forward to a stunning tailor-made tour. It's a fantastic way to keep positive about the current crisis. Okay, we know our SOP doesn't allow us to have groups. Big groups are, at the moment, will be limited. FIT will be the norm. The new norm will be FIT. So we have to do some tailor-made tours for FIT passengers. So we have to keep positive of the current crisis, change into the new norm, create tour packages. Tour guides are to be more for FIT tours rather than group tours. We do understand cancellations would have taken place. Some bookings would have done for the year of 2020 far ahead in the year 2018 and 2019. Big tours, big tour groups would have been a year ahead. They would have done the bookings. So now we have to do the manage the cancellations and review a cancellation policy. As travel restrictions and warnings continue to increase, it is possible that a number of our customers may be wanting to cancel or postpone their trips. It is unpredictable. Day by day, we can see the COVID. We do not know where it is going to end. There are countries like United States of America, Brazil, India, their situations are getting bad to worse. Daily 20 to 30,000, 40,000 people are getting infected. So we wouldn't know when it is going to. So likewise, passengers and customers and our clients are also uncertain when will they want to start their trips. So most of them are still canceling or postponing their trips. So it is the best time that we ensure that the cancellation and deferment policies are up to date and our employees are aware of them and they can be found easily in our websites. We can see like airlines like Malaysia Airlines or even AirAsia and Malindo, our local airlines. They also have their cancellation policies and how to refund and how to postpone. This will save your significant amount of time, not to mention increase the likelihood that your customers will remember their positive experience and rebook in the future. It's the best time now. We have to ensure the customers are given the leniency, friendliness in managing the cancellations and the bookings. Remember, you aren't on your own. It is the best time to appreciate the collaborative and supportive nature of the travel industry. Look towards your local travel associations, the regulating body or government for resources, support and funding. You can see the government is still, they started with Stimulus 1 package, Stimulus 2, Stimulus 3, Prihatin, and the latest one is Panjana. They are giving the funds. They are supporting. So it is, as a tour operator or travel industry, a tour guide. It is you up to look towards where do you get the support and how do you get the support and how do you get the funds. It is up to you to look for it. And here, sticking together and supporting one another is important to ensure that the industry comes out of the other side more dynamic, resilient, and successful than before. So now is the perfect time to appreciate the collaborative. We have to work together, and then only the travel industry will survive. Choose tools that support you. Tourism is unpredictable, as I said. The COVID is at the moment. It's not the only one. We had Nipah virus, SARS, N1, H1, H1N1. We had the 9/11. We had a lot of terrorist attacks, natural disasters, volcanoes, tsunami, things like that. So it is unpredictable. Whether it is seasonality, economic recession, or a health epidemic, there are always going to be times when your business needs support. Adopting products and services that have been designed with the peaks and troughs of tourism in mind will allow you to rest assured that your fluctuating cash flow won't be further hindered by expensive or unexpected costs. For tour operators, cash flow is very important, like the airlines. Tourism industry churns day after day by night. The cash flow is very important. If you do not have cash flow, it will hinder your business. That is why the government has come up with the stimulus packages and the Penjana Prihatin packages. We have to ensure that we get some form of fund to for some form of financial aid in order to continue our business without hindering in anything. So there will be some unexpected costs, and you have to use the right tools to support you. COVID-19 projected impact on tourism in 2020. We can see from this slide, 100 to 120 million jobs are at risk. 910 US billion dollars to 1.2 US trillion dollars have lost in exports. 850 million to 1.1 billion international tourists will be less. That accounts to about 60 to 80% drop in 2020. If that's the big drop, as I said in the beginning itself, a lot of them will be losing the jobs, losing the business. Likewise, tour operators, travel agents, tour guides also are in this block. So international tourist arrivals scenarios for 2020 based on the dates of gradual reopenings of borders. You can see if the borders are open, then you can see there is some survival or revival. From the graph, you can see it will take time. Initial expectation was a V shape of graph. That means a dip down, a V shape. It's a dip down. They expected a fast recovery. But now we don't even see a U shape. It still looks like an L-shaped graph. So it will take some time for the recovery, and the governments, the countries in the world have to work together with the travel and tourism industry players. Priorities for tourism recovery. This is from the United Nations World Tourism Organization. Provide liquidity and protect jobs. These are the priorities for tourism recovery. So protect jobs. As far as Malaysia is concerned, the Ministry of Human Resources have given some form of wage subsidy to ensure the travel and tour operators or the tourism industry players or the entire workforce, the employers, they maintain the workers. So they have given the wage subsidy, and it is being seen working. And I wouldn't know how long it is going to be uh, prolonged or extended. Recover confidence through safety and security. So confidence through safety and security, that is very important. We take into our country, Malaysia should be seen as safe and secure country for our borders to be open and for other countries to release their citizens to visit Malaysia. Public-private collaboration for an efficient reopening. Public and private, we have to ensure the collaboration for efficient reopening. We have to ensure the SOP is being followed and maintained. If you do not follow the SOP for the COVID, and World Health Organization will be more like they will be looking into it, and they will analyze our country whether it is a green zone country or not a green zone country. Once we are declared as a green zone country, you can see visitors coming to our country. Likewise, our outbound tourism also will start to move when we realize that countries are green zone. Currently, there are a number of countries within our region: Singapore, Brunei, Japan, Korea, Australia, New Zealand seems to be declared as a green zone countries, but still they do have the COVID infections spreading around. In the ASEAN countries, Singapore, Brunei, Thailand, Vietnam seems to be recovering very fast. So borders will be open with responsibility, and that is the time you can see tourism will recover. Harmonize and coordinate protocols and procedures. So protocols and procedures has to be harmonized within the regional, within the countries, within the states, within the districts. Added value jobs through new technologies. New technologies has to be introduced so that it will be added to the value for the jobs. Simple example, recently I attended some of these seminars. There are people already, technology has come to a scanning. You do not need to type in your names and things like that. It is a face scanning. Tools have been installed there. They scan, and they practically, before the scanning, you have to do the recording. I mean, you do the registration. Once you have registered everything, face scanning has been done, and straight away it allows. So the time is saved. So likewise, the airlines also have to do this. Such gadgets have to be installed at the entrance of the boarding gate or entrance of the waiting gate. So it will be, so coordinate protocols. New technologies has to be introduced. Innovation and sustainability as the new normal. So new innovation is essential. Creation is to be there. Creativity has to be there. So the global guidelines: safe and seamless border management, air, sea, and ground travel. Private sector cross-cutting measures, safe air travel, hospitality, tour operators and travel agencies, meetings and events, attractions and thematic parks, destination planning and management. of showing a video. It's not coming. It's okay. I'll show the video later. A safe and seamless border management, introduce and adapt border processes and procedures in line with public health evidence-based risk assessment. So safe and seamless border management, it is more like it's done by the government of the countries. Define roles and responsibilities for governments, private sector, and travelers. Define roles and responsibilities for governments, private sectors, travelers. It is also done by the government, so they will define the roles and responsibilities. Ensure regional and international coordination in the reopening of borders. We have to ensure the regional and international coordination. As I said earlier, the borders will be opened only when everything is perfect. The World Health Organization will say, okay, Malaysia is a green zone. Okay, then the borders will be open. Singapore seems to be intending to open their borders in the 10th of August. So that we need the neighboring countries to open the borders first. We want Singapore and Thailand to open the borders. Without these two countries, we won't be seeing much tourist arrivals. Indeed, more than 50% of our tourists are from Singapore. So if we do not have Singaporeans coming into Malaysia, then you will see we will not be able to achieve the target. Our target was this year for 30 million and 100 billion yield. We will be we won't be achieving even 25% of it. So 50% of the tourists are from Singapore. So we need the borders of Singapore and Malaysia to be open first, which is we are expecting by August 10th. We are expecting some form of relaxation in these borders. Apart from that, ensure the regional and international coordination in the reopening of the borders. We have to revise regularly travel restriction and protocols using best available information from leading international health authorities to ensure they remain proportionate to the public health threat and local risk assessment. Our information, especially in Malaysia, it is practically every day at 5 o'clock. You can see the DG, the Director General of Health Ministry, Nur Hisham, is doing his job very well. He comes and practically informs up to date and the risk and the threat is giving. So that is being done very well in Malaysia. And enhance the use of technology for safe, seamless, and touchless travel. Yeah, technology, we need something which is all touchless. So everywhere you need to go, ensure that without touching, it is more like sensors has to be there, whereby it is seen and detected. Provide reliable, consistent, and easy to access information on travel restrictions and protocols to the private sector and to travelers. Okay, in the beginning, you'll find difficulty to follow the new norm. The reason is because everything is new and the reliability and the consistency will be not it will be tested at the moment. So after some time, you can see the assess will be easier, and you have to do some check and balance. Ensure coordination of relevant policies and measures among tourism, health, and interior transport, authorities. So we do have to have coordination and relevant policies. You cannot implement something after sometimes you do not coordinate, then it will be seen it is not working. So we have to ensure the coordinations are there between relevant authorities. Most probably with Ministry of Transport, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Tourism, there must be some coordination. Likewise, travel and tour industries also must have coordination with the airline industries, with the cruise, with the tour guides, with the hotels, restaurants, and all that. We must have some coordination so that it will work well. Harmonized travel and tourism related health protocols and procedures at global travel and work towards the international interoperability of visitors tracing apps. Okay, visitors tracing apps. Apps are very important. You can see now My Sejatra, and a lot of apps are coming, and we always see the new apps has to be adopted. So travel and tourism industry have to have various apps for travelers and travelers and tourists, to ensure that wherever they have a new apps, they are able to download the apps, ensure the apps are relevant to them, and from the apps they will be able to trace and move about easily. Mitigate risks at departure and or arrival. Here we are talking about what are the risks at the departure and arrival. This is more when once the border is open, we have to ensure that minimum risks are there during departure and arrival. So when we see the departure places and arrival places, we have to ensure that all these places are guarded, protected, and when we see passengers arriving into Malaysia, what are the safety procedures we have to follow, and when they're departing, we also do. In this case, the tour guides are also very important. They must know the procedures for tourist arrivals and tourist departures. So they have to understand and know about it. Government and regional blocks to advance travel facilitation towards e-visa, visa on arrival, no visa policies, and temporary visa cost exemption to stimulate a demand. So visa is also important. I think now they will implement. Indeed, all the countries in the world, they practice the CIQ. Tour guides, I think you all should know what is CIQ. Customs Immigration Quarantine. A traveler, when enters a country, the first thing they have to go through the CIQ. Though the abbreviation CIQ is Customs Immigration Quarantine, in practice it will be first is quarantine, then immigration, and the last one is customs. So in a country, when you enter, it will be quarantine first, then followed by immigration, then followed by customs. But quarantine in the whole world, it has been more like it has taken into account as it is norm. So as there is no epidemic, disease or virus, quarantine has been on a silent mode all the while. Until unless you see certain countries, only then there is some quarantine. Recently, I think a year ago, we had Ebola from African countries. Then tourists arriving from Africa, they have to go for some quarantine checks. But now quarantine going to be a new norm, and it is going to be effective. So a traveler who comes into a country, first he has to go into quarantine check. That means health check. After the health check, only then he will be permitted to be immigration checks. Then only the last is custom checks.
Explaining the 17 goals for 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Let's explain sustainable tourism. Meet Olivia. She is very disappointed because her favorite playground is full of plastic bottles and garbage left behind by the high number of tourists visiting her town. Her mother is the owner of a local shop that sells local products. She struggles to make a living because tourists prefer to purchase from large international malls. So how can we help Olivia and her mother? Be a responsible tourist and contribute to sustainable tourism by respecting local cultures, conserving resources, favoring businesses which preserve cultural heritage, supporting local economies by purchasing local goods and act in an environmentally conscious way. Sustainable tourism is a form of tourism that respects both local people and the traveler, cultural heritage and the environment while providing an exciting and educational holiday that is also of benefit to the people of the host country. Sustainable tourism can ensure that future generations can enjoy the beauty of our planet as much as we do.
The second one is a private sector cross-cutting measures. Implement global and harmonized health, safety and hygiene protocols. I think private sector or practically the Ministry of Health has already been practically pressing every day about these SOPs. So health is very important and hygiene protocols is important. I think the COVID-19 is spreading expressively. It is because of unhygienic standard being practiced. The countries which are practicing very hygienic protocols, you can see their recovery is faster. Train the personnel in safety and security protocols as well as safe service delivery. So we must have some personnel in the to train them in the safety and security protocols, so that from the tour guides or from the travel and tourism industry, there will be people who are trained in the specifically on the safety and security. Communicate protocols and responsibilities to the customers and keep them informed on site and through digital and social media. If you have your customers, I think it's a pre-departure, before the departure, inbound or outbound, whichever mode, whichever tourism it is, you must inform them. It is our responsibilities to inform the customers. These are the procedures. If we are coming into Malaysia, these are the procedures to be followed. Definitely, we at the moment, recently we have been reintroduced the 14 days quarantine for all visitors into Malaysia. This is because most of the visitors are not following the in-house quarantine. So it is been now the responsibilities of the tour and travel agents or the government of Malaysia to inform them practically. Clean all surfaces frequently using products and disinfectants that meet requirements with special attention to high touch surfaces. All surfaces has to be cleaned. Recently, I think I visited a clinic. I saw them, practically they are cleaning. Every now and then, somebody sits there and cleaning. Indeed, I went to the Citibank recently. There also, when once the counter customer has been attended, they do cleaning. And I've seen many places, once you go and sit and you vacate that place, the seat is being cleaned, the armrest is being cleaned, the places are cleaned. So it is very important. This will give some confidence to the travelers to come into Malaysia, especially when tour guides are taking the tourists to places. It will be ideal. Either they do have some form of cleaning materials, or ensure the attraction places, the owners of the places do the cleanings. Set up plan in the event a guest or employee falls ill on site. This is also important. It is very important for tour guides. Tourist guides must understand and have a backup plan. If somebody falls ill, what should be done? And if they are found to be infected with COVID-19, I think the step 1, step 2, step 3, what to be done next? How many people are involved? Who are the people this infected guy has been with. All that is important. So you must, as a tourist guide, you must know the aftermath. That means anybody is infected, what to do with them, where to take them, and how to admit them, and how to get it cured. Create an internal COVID-19 coordination committee to follow up on implementation and execution of protocols and service delivery. This is more meant for travel agents and tour operators. Within your in-house, you must have a coordination committee, so that in case anything, any of your tourists or any of your employees are infected, you will know how to execute the service delivery. Redesign processes towards more digital touchless operations in all possible touch points. Yeah, this is technology again. So wherever you wanted to have any operational equipments, anything that it is highly recommended to use touchless digital equipments. Keep record of all statistical information for tourism planning and management in full coordination with local and national tourism and statistical authorities. This is like a passenger manifest. You must keep your record, because according to the World Health Organization, this COVID remains for 14 days minimum. So it's advisable to keep at least for 21 days or at least 30 days. Keep all the record, so that in case if any one of your travelers or your customers are infected, you will know how to trace them back and how to attend them accordingly. Promote social dialogue and work to ensure the health and well-being of workers and the working environment. Support employees in monitoring their health and adopt human resources policies. This is for more on travel and tour operators. If you have your workers, if your employees, and actual, you have to have some social dialogue, and that means time to time you must have some form of briefing within your company and your workers. Engage in public-private sector dialogue and recovery mechanism. So you have to have a committee, you have to have a personnel in your company to ensure that they engage regularly in some form of a dialogue on how to the recovery mechanism. Day by day, they have a new method of recovery. Maybe there might be a system, there might be a recovery method which is much better than the one you have learned a month ago or 2 months ago. Okay, we are now on the air travel, safe air travel, hygiene and operations. Indeed, airlines are now still, though the airports are open, airlines are not more into the commercial flights. They are more on the rescue flights. They are taking back their citizens back to their own country. Like if Malaysian Airlines are operating from UK to Malaysia, they are more onto the bringing back the Malaysians or permanent residents back to Malaysia. Or from Australia, they're bringing back the Malaysians. And if into Australia, the Australians are going back to Australia. So we call that more like a rescue flight. Travel and tour customers are still yet to travel. Tourism, though Greece has opened, some of the countries have opened tourism attraction places, they are yet to see travelers coming into their countries. So implement appropriate health check procedures as appropriate according to risk assessment, which is very important. For the air travel, you need to have, because it is a enclosed area. Once you are boarding the aircraft doors is closed, you can see it is 100 or 200 or 300 passengers are in one enclosed area. The chances of infection is spreading is greater because it is enclosed in one area. So it is very important. The check procedures are carried out in appropriate and according to risk assessment. It should be zero infected passenger to be admitted into the plane. Deepen and increase the frequency of aircraft and cabin cleaning. This, the airlines should be taking care of it. Aircraft and cabin cleaning, instead of cleaning once or twice, they have to clean thoroughly twice or 3 times in the aircraft cabins, especially the seats, these chair tables of the aircraft, the screens of the video screens of the aircraft, the toilets, they all has to be. Consider providing masks for passengers and crew, ensuring they are used during the whole flight. Yes, the airline, practically, I think most of the airlines at the moment, they are requesting the passengers to bring their own mask, but there must be some spare masks for the passengers who are without mask. And crew should be, definitely they should have their mask donned during the flight. Implement boarding and deplaning process that reduce contact with other passengers or crew. Use front and rear doors in respect of physical distancing of the rules. Nowadays, boarding is more like prior to COVID. You can see boarding practically passenger to passenger, they have contacts. They are touching and boarding. They are indeed in rushing to board. They will be more like there will be some form of contact. Now, if you need social distancing 1 to 1.5 meters, you need the boarding time should be earlier. Instead of 30 minutes before the departure, maybe it needs to be 45 minutes to 1 hour, depending on the number of passengers they are going to board the flight. And here it is recommended to open number of doors. Instead of only one door, you open 1 or 2 doors. Limit movement within the cabin during flight. This is also encouraged that during the flight, passengers are not encouraged to move. You can see sometimes the passengers, if they have friends at the back, they would like to go at back and talk to. They get together and talk among themselves. These are all discouraged at the moment, and this be limited. And if you're going to the toilet, it has to be ensured that you go to the toilet and use it and ensure it is clean before you go in and after you coming out. Simplify catering and other procedures that lower crew movement and interaction with passengers. Here, simplify in the sense, catering, those days you can see the crew will be coming with drinks, with the peanuts, with the trolley, they will be coming with the food, they will be asking you drinks, then after that they will collect, after that they will be coming with the blankets, and sometimes they will come with, they will come and talk to you, some public relations and all that. But now they are saying simplify the catering. That means they might come and give you pup, that is bulk, one box of everything A to Z inside, just one giving and one collection. So the contact is less, the interaction is less. So there will be very minimum public relations, but minimum contact is to be adopted. Hospitality, again, is hygiene and operations. It is more like the SOP, which has been practically told during the by the DG of the Ministry of Health, is telling every day. Increase the frequency of cleaning in common areas and contact surfaces. Inform guests about existing protocols in an easy and updated manner. Assemble time of the last cleaning, contact of health manager and all that. So there must be frequent cleaning. If it's an attraction, if you're a tour guide, if you're taking them to a theme park or attractive places, or even it can be a place where it is being attended by many tourists, you have to ensure that the cleaning takes place frequently. Explore new methods such electrostatic sprays, ultraviolet light, among others. So the spraying method should be easier and it should be faster rather than the manual methods. There are some people still using the pump to. If you see some of the news, you can see some countries they're using the pumps. But I've seen in China, there has come with the latest methods whereby it is massive. It is in a massive spraying and ultraviolet and others. Implement contactless check-in and provide guests with hygiene. Is contactless, touchless are coming popular and popular. Get to know more about your guest in advance to the arrival to provide a more personalized service. Yes, travel agents, tour operators, tour guides must know the customer's get the customer's profile and their details, whether do they have some chronic diseases, if they have asthmatic, diabetic, and things like that is also important to know, so that in the case if they are infected with COVID or anything else, you will be able to provide medical assistance immediately. Keep spare rooms for possible sick or quarantine guests. This is more for the travel and tour operators, or even in the even in your buses and coaches, you must have some spare seats so you can isolate them or keep them separately and give them some medical attention. Keep physical distancing for the use of all common spaces. It is ideal to always keep them social distancing. Introduce technological systems such as guest messaging for direct and rapid contact with guests for reservations, refunds, cancellations, or possible information about infections. This most of the hotels, they have to practice this, and tour guides also have to take note. There are some new technology systems whereby guest messaging for direct and rapid contact with guests on reservation refunds and all that, it has to be something specially they have to have it. The normal guest relationship, you might have it. If you go, most of the hotels, they have a phone straight away to guest officer or special officer to attend for the guest. But now we must have some form of a guest messaging, a direct or rapid contact, whereby they find it is friendly and easier to use. Foster flexibility for operations. Flexibility is very important. We have to, because when it's COVID, you are implementing so many new norms. Ensure that there's some flexibility in the operations. Create positions such as hygiene manager and guest guardian. As I said, in the hotels, they might have some guest for special officers, frontline officers. Sometimes you touch in the phone, you will have a button specially for some of these. So you must have create a hygiene manager and guest guardian in a new norm. This is very essential. So that hygiene manager and guest guardian will be a person who knows A to Z about this new norm. Product and marketing is another area to look into. Add new services such as food delivery or takeaway, picnic service, family experiences, co-working spaces, drive and stay packages, etc. New norm is nowadays, you see, most of the hotels, they do not have a buffet dinner or buffet lunch. It is all more like it is a la carte. Recently, I went to Langkawi. I stayed in one of the 5-star hotels. It is the hotels, they do not serve any more buffet breakfast. It is a la carte, and a standard a la carte, though it is more work for the waiter and waitresses, but that is a way of preventing the spreading. Promote proximity and domestic tourism in the short term, enhancing the local value chain. Malaysia has already started promoting the domestic tourism, and most of the countries are already have started the domestic tourism. For domestic tourism, later we will see a slide. Do we need a tour guide? And we will see how the tour guide still can be usable for domestic tourism. Implement marketing campaigns to communicate corporate values and support to local providers and workers. Marketing campaigns to communicate corporate values is essential so that it will support the local providers and workers. The next parameter is the partnerships. Partner with health and safety brands and healthy providers. You will see the stock market also, you will see anything regarding safety and health, all this, the stock market or the products of this industry, you will see it will be the upsurge. It will be surging up. So partnership with this is essential so that you will be up to date, your knowledge, and you will be having the, you can get the products essential for this to operate the new norm. Generate alliances with health centers and providers. This is also good so that we, there's more to get your update on the information and information on the products and the usage. Partner with local providers, local destination management, organizations, and other players in the sector. This is also for updating your knowledge and improving your services. Okay, now it is tour operators and travel agencies. Hygiene and operations. Tour operators and travel agencies, we need to, once you are tourists started to arrive and you wanted to handle the tourists, you have to follow this, implement this in your office, implement this to your staffs, and ensure your staffs follow this. So facilitate international voucher redeeming for local and domestic packages and products. So these vouchers is a new norm. The domestic. Indeed, the Ministry of Tourism, most of the association to look into whereby the redeem these vouchers when they attend to these, when they admit themselves into the hotels or into the tour attraction places. Implement health and safety protocols and promote digital communications. Health and safety protocols, it's been implemented, as been said earlier. Digital communication is most important at the moment. Promote and marketing. Sorry, product and marketing. Develop segmented and sustainable products focused on nature, rural areas, and culture. So ecotourism is an area, small group or individual sports, history, bird watching tourism, traditional routes. Ecotourism is the best at the moment. Nature tourism, ecotourism, adventure, these are the tourism you can see people are more to. Even in domestic or it is going to be international or whatever it is, you will find this is the more attractive and safer ground to bring the tourists around. So it is in a small group, and it can be places where historical bird watching and things like that. Introduce storytelling for creating new tourism experiences. Tour guides, very important. This is the best time, take advantage. You can disseminate your knowledge to the tourists. You can start telling storytelling and create new tourism experiences. This is the best time you can show off practically your talents. Create personalized and small group tours and packages. This is the best time. Again, as I said in the beginning, group tours are not at the moment encouraged, or you will not see big groups. So it is small groups are the ones you are going to see, and it should be more personalized. It is going to be small groups, and if you are well versed, then it can be even small group as 1-to-1 also. It will be if there's 2-3 people also, you can be there. 1-to-1 also will be there. Tour guides, you will find this is the best time to more have a personalized uh, uh, touring, personalized touring, and it will give you more time for your show of your talents. Incentivize domestic tourism, short trips, and visits to nearby destinations in the short term. Here, incentivize means in the domestic tourism. I think the Ministry of Tourism is coming up with some form of incentivization. Most of the travel agents, tours, travel and tour associations have already requested some form of incentives for domestic tourism. They are coming up. I think tour guides need to update yourself once these incentives are given. It might be given to even tour guides. Tour guides also might get some incentives. Travel agents will get incentives. Tour operators will get incentives. Even bus drivers, bus operators will get incentives. Theme park operators also will get attractions, all will get incentives. So this will be another area to look into it, so that the domestic tourism will expand. Promote rent-a-car services and combined hotel car and package. These are more for travel and tour operators. They can do a package whereby rent a car and combine their hotel and things like that. So this is to isolate them. Instead of going in a group, they get a car, they get a hotel package all together. So they are on their own. Okay, the next parameter we are looking into it is partnerships. We have to create alliances with the financial sector to promote deferred tour packages and interest-free installments. This is another thing we can see, that we get some financial aid from banks and from some financial institutes. If you get some form of aid, then tour packages also we can create interest-free installments. Some tour packages, I think some of the banks they used to give. I've seen some of the banks giving tour packages. It's like more for outbound. It is the cost about 5,000 to 10,000 ringgit, interest free. They use their credit card and they get interest free installments. For inbounds, we can encourage our ground handlers or partners in the overseas to tell them that they can also apply for some form of tour packages with interest free installments. Increment accrual of miles and reinforce point-based loyalty. This is more like if you have some loyalty programs, you can increase the accrual of the miles and reinforce the point-based loyalty programs. This is also you can collaborate with the airlines and with your tour packages. Promote new destination and experiences with added value and local inspiration, namely with the creative industries, to generate novelty in the market. I think Malaysia, we should. Our products are more like the same. So we need to have new products, new destinations. There are a lot of destinations or new products is still not explored. We do have a lot. Malaysia is a practically equatorial climate country. We have forest and tropical forest. We are equally good as Amazon forest. So we do have jungles and natures and all that. We take Taman Negara, we take Sabah and Sarawak. We do have a lot of things to explore. So this is the best time to lure tourists into our country, particularly Singaporeans. With the concrete jungle they have, all buildings and buildings, they will be the best people to bring in, because they would like to see nature, And with that, you can incorporate adventure. Coordinate with insurance companies to offer complete or 100% coverage products. Okay, this is another area. Insurance is essential. Whenever you take a tour package, introduce your tour package, insurance is essential. It is. Nobody can predict what can happen. We can always cover itself by having covered by insurance protections. And it should make sure it is 100% coverage products, including COVID-19. So if your customers are coming from overseas, ask them to have insurance coverage 100%. If they are not covered, if they are coming into Malaysia, ensure your company or ensure you do have a coverage policy for them. And tourist guides ensure when you take the assignment of the tour guide for a job, this assignment ensure one of the things on your checklist should be insurance coverage. Meetings and events, this is another area. This is more for those people who are having seminars and things like that. Hygiene and operations is to be ensured. Offer packed meals, avoid buffet service or coffee breaks with due respect for sustainability options. This is already being practiced, but we have to ensure. Normally, after the meetings and events during the break, they all will get together and talk together and all that. I think that should be avoided. Develop specific meeting planners guides to restart operations. So we have to develop some planners. They will know what to do and how to start the operations. That means a meeting and event, they will know this is a new norm because of the COVID. The attendees, participants, where to sit them, where to place them, how to break them, how to give intervals, how to give them F&B, food and beverage, and all this has to be where to place the food and beverage, how the waiters, how to serve, and all that. That should be some planners. So that specific meeting planners, that means the planning guides. The planners have to guide and restart the operations. Product and marketing, as a first step, create digital events with high-level speakers, technological innovation, and relevant content. So awareness must be there. They must be well-versed with the product so that the digital event with the high-level speakers, technological innovation, and relevant content is the first step. Second one is analyze the option to sell tickets to these events based on additional features such as B2B options. Rather than B2C, give the B2B options so that it will be sold easily. Offer value-added post-event services such as reports and training. You must have a post-event so that after the event, you can see whether you must have a report so that from there you can analyze and see what are the things to be added in future or what are the things to be revised and prevent. Provide free access to certain parts of the events in order to obtain a base of social media followers. Yeah, this is another area we can see so that the social media followers will have the free access in order to obtain the base. In a further stage, offer traditional mid-size events for the domestic market according to local regulations and health protocols, particularly for specialized segments. Example, medical. For domestic market, it is best to have a mid-size. You can break the sizes. If there is something, a big group, you can have it into, you can break it into 2-3 groups so that your groups are minimized. This is another SOP in terms of preventing the spread of this COVID. Attractions and theme parks, thematic parks, very important for tour guides. Allow people to enjoy the first thing they have to look into the hygiene and operations. So here, allow people to enjoy the facilities and encourage the use of masks, face covering for guests and staff. So as a tour guide, you must show example. So you must wear the masks and face coverings if it's essential, and ensure that also they enjoy the facilities and encourage. Reduce touch areas where possible and sanitize high touch surfaces frequently. This has been repeatedly said in many of the slides earlier. So tour guides take note of that. Protect employees with various approaches, including barriers, protective coverings, and distancing. So in theme park, definitely you will be seeing a lot of participants or a lot of tourists need to touch a lot of things. Assuming if you are going on a go-kart, or assuming you're going in a boat riding, assuming you're going on Ferris wheels, or you're going on horse riding, various attractions, and you will tend to touch a lot of surfaces. So it is the tour guides or the employees of the theme parks, they have to ensure that it is being frequently cleaned and cleansed. Manage density of people within the facilities to keep people or family units, and define protocols for the flow path of visitors and the use of common places. Okay, theme parks are very important places where you can see people gather together, queue together, and you will see the gathering is too many people gathered in one places. So it is managing the density here. It means you manage the queue. You have to manage the queue. Social distancing is abided, and tour guide can do assist in this area also to safeguard your tourists. Reduce or manage capacity to allow for appropriate social distancing. Entrance and venue capacity. This is also same as the earlier sentence. It is here also you can see you have to reduce the capacity. If the capacity is it's about 50 people can attend this, I think it is proportionally to reduce to maybe 50% of it. Communicate protocols and responsibilities to the guests. Here, we have to be responsible to the guest. So we have to communicate. We have to tell them. We have to explain to them, this is wrong, this is right, this is how it should be, and ensure they follow the procedures or follow your instructions. Place signs or place signs or markings on the pavement to outline physical distancing, guides spaces. So here, ensure the signs and markings are there on the pavement to outline physical distancing. I think this has been practiced, but tour guides have to ensure that it is there and it is being practiced. Encourage online payments and pre-bookings. Yes, it is encouraged to pay online, get your tickets online, so that you no need to go in queue at the booths of the thematic parks. Implement new technologies such as augmented reality or virtual reality to improve visitors' experience before, during, and after a visit. This virtual, you can see a lot of theme parks already started to have some virtual tours and all that, which is also another way of attracting the tourists. The tourists will enjoy this. It's a new experience, and which we can improve before and during and after a visit. Lastly, destination planning and management. Introduced and adapt actionable and harmonized process of procedures in line with public health, evidence-based risk assessment, and full coordination with relevant public and private sector. Okay, anyway, destination and planning management is more to event management and things like that, big events and all that. Tourist guides are practically not visible in this part of the parameters or this part of the events. However, there will be certain jobs given to certain tourist guides if they are taking the tourists to this part of the destinations. Support companies in the implementation and training of their staff on the new products, especially financing and trading. This is more for event managers. Enhance the use of technology, already I've said. Provide reliable, consistent, and easy access information. It has been said earlier also. Create programmers and campaigners to incentive the domestic market in cooperation with the private sector. Okay, here incentive schemes, it has been said earlier. It is more like a repeating in the previous slides, but it is also for the destination and planning management. Promote new products and experiences targeted at individual and small groups, travelers like special interest, nature, rural tourism, gastronomy, wine, and sports. Okay, here we can see also small groups. Practically, they have been saying everything is small groups. The special interest is nature and rural tourism. We instead of showing them more on the city tours and all that, here we can see more on nature and rural tourism. We do have a lot of nature products. We have Taman Naga. In Sabah, you can see plenty of places to see, and Sarawak, a lot of places to see. Even if you are talking about Terengganu and Kelantan and Pahang, there are a lot of things to be seen. In Malacca also we have seen there are a lot of places to nature and adventure we can see. Okay, and consider the data privacy policies when there is a proposal of developing tracing apps. World Health Organization will develop guidance on the use of digital technologies for contact tracing. This has been also said, data is very important for privacy policies. Enhance and communicate medical capacity and protocols at the destination. Example, safety seals. So enhance the communication, medical capacity. Whenever there is some medical attentions to be adhered, medical attentions to be provided, we have to ensure we communicate effectively. Ensure coordination among tourism, health, and transport policies. This has been said earlier already. It is also to be applicable for destination and planning management. Define the roles and responsibilities for government and private sector and travelers. It has been also said. Okay, now I'm going to show you another video.
Tellers of history, guardians of tales behind the landmarks, and keepers of the real reasons why people did what they did in shaping a place like New York City. As we dig deep into how to rebuild our economy after this virus, tonight we look at New York through the eyes of its tour guides, us hoping to glimpse a slice of the future from people who understand the past. Here's Safan Kim.
Where most of us see a Bed Bath & Beyond, some see the invention of window shopping.
You can see it's got these great big windows. So right where these canopies are, that was the height of the train tracks.
The height of the elevated train tracks that used to run down 6th Avenue in Chelsea. With department stores dying today, this was when they were born.
And on opening day in September 1896, there was a riot in front of the building. There were over 150,000 people trying to get into this building. They had a post office in there, they had a nursery in there, they had a ladies' lounge, they had the men's lounge with a separate door so men didn't have to see the ladies.
But these are tours right now that aren't happening because of the pandemic. Tourism is a nearly $70 billion industry in New York, fueling 400,000 jobs. So tour guides, ambassadors of our city, are feeling the pain too.
Guides are suffering along with everyone else, and I think that they often are an overlooked segment of our tourist society.
Meanwhile, the industry has a solution for how to survive these next several months. When restrictions ease, target New Yorkers who've been cooped up, dying to get out, with nowhere else to travel to anyway. Why not see your city as if you're seeing it for the first time?
Tour Your Own City will be a way to get to know New York in a whole new light and get to know it up close and personal. Of course, with social distancing,
I know a lot of us, we like to do private tours just with families and small groups because you get that much more intimate experience.
And adjusting to the new norm might not be as painful as you might think.
You know, you can use whisper systems. I know a lot of people that can use the squawk boxes. There are different ways and strategies that I think guides are going to be able to develop to make sure that they can keep that nice, intimate feel.
Well, magnet, we'll just stick to the building.
A landmark building housing a container store with things made of plastic. In 100 years, I wonder which will still be here. In Chelsea, Stefan Kim, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Okay, now we come into the zoom to how will be the situation for tourist guide post-COVID-19. If you see, the COVID-19 pandemic has already brought the travel industry to its knees. Practically, we are begging. Travel and tourism industry is more like begging, compromising most up-close learning about people, places, and cultures abroad. Avid travelers are hunkered down at home. Many desperately striving to maintain a healthy balance of awareness and distraction from a new cycle consumed with the virus. This is the situation of the tourist guides. Whilst the dash to travel dreams can be disappointing, the impact on the individuals and businesses whose livelihoods depend on people traveling promises to be far more devastating. According to the World Travel and Tourism Council, some 50 million jobs in travel and tourism may be at risk due to the pandemic. With museums, monuments, and attractions closed and governmental attractions placed on travel across the globe, tour guides are likely to be one major casualty of this sharp and sudden industry downturn. Yes, if our borders are closed, if our aeroplanes are still stalled, where do we get our tourists? Yes, we do have domestic tourism, yes, but how long? How long the domestic tourism going to continue? So tour guides are going to be in the lurch, in the dark, if we do not receive tourists. So in order to receive tourists, we need to open the borders. In order to open the borders, we need to be seen attaining the green zone. The World Health Organization have to recognize Malaysia is a green zone country. Then only you can see tourists coming into Malaysia. First, we need the Singaporeans coming into Malaysia. Then the Thais coming into Malaysia. Then we need the neighboring countries. Unfortunately, we don't see the COVID control and contain is effective in Indonesia that much. But however, Singapore and Thailand seems to be encouraging, and countries like Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, or also seems to be attaining the green zone. Our ASEAN travelers are more than 60% or 70% of our tourist arrivals, so we need them. So coming back to tour guides, we don't see tourists. The tour guides we are still in the dark. So most tour guides are freelance, hourly workers whose livelihoods depend not only on regular work, but also on tips from appreciative tourists. They are unlikely to have paid sick leave, unemployment insurance, or any other benefits enjoyed by many salaried workers. I do understand, yes. Tourist guide, we depend on the tourists. Some of them depend on the tips, or most of us. So those knowledgeable tourist guide, those who are experienced tourist guide, they're totally depending on tips and assignments. I do understand. I think the Ministry of Tourism understands. The government of Malaysia understands. Everybody is trying to revive everybody's earnings. But we still have to go through these norms and adopt the new norms. Okay, well, the challenges, we do have two challenges. One is the technology, the other one is COVID-19. Technology is already there, but COVID-19 has come and already suppressing further. If you see technology, it is guided tours are part of world tourism and require a combination of professional services provided by several tourism components. We will see in this slide and this paragraph I'm going to go through how do technology assist or practically it is discouraging the guided tours. There will be people who will be seeing whether technology is assistance or is a disaster to guided tours. Later, you will see in this program, in this course, there will be a forum. There will be a question on this. I'll be asking whether you support technology is will technology erode guided tours, or technology guided tours will be in existence. And if you say yes, then why it will be, whichever answer you're going to, is technology going to be demolished guided tours? But in my version, I'm going to say technology should not be seen as a threat or a competing factor or something which will overtake the work of tour guides or guided tours, particularly in developing economies, particularly in Malaysia. Probably it should be seen as a complement to each other. A guided tour as a service is provided by a professional tour operator to its visitors during the trip and on site or at the place of tourist interest. In the course of service provision, for example, the history of the area and statistics, etc. Tour operators, tour guides may use technology in the form of recorded listening devices to tell information about the site. For this is actually manageable. When it's a big group, you will be giving them some headphones and headsets and all that. Recorded information is there. But this is manageable if you have a small group of visitors at the site. The number of devices is equal to several visitors at a time. Visitors can be scattered at a place which is well demarcated or numbered and is a technological friendly site. However, such listening devices are programmed just to provide only that information which is recorded and cannot respond to some technical questions which visitors may have. Headphones, headsets informations are very, very common and standard. Maybe there is something new in that place which will not be able to get it from the recorded or headset information. Still, a tour guide or tourist guide is essential. If there is something new have been installed there, or something has been taken off, or some information has been added on, which the recorded announcements might not have it, the tour guide will be the best at that particular time. So to me, I find the technology will not demolish guided tours. So this is where the skills of the tour guide is essential. Knowledge and expertise of guided tours are still required. Tour guides are there to attend to such questions and programmed into listening devices. Hence, the number of guided tours and the services of tour guides will increasingly be needed in the world of tourism in future. I assume it is. It all depends on the tour guide. If the tour guide if his knowledge is massive, he can talk and talk and talk. Whereas the gadgeted headphones are limited. And when there is interaction between your tourist and tour guide, the gadgeted headphones or headsets are not able to help. Interactions are always human to human, person to person, and it depends on how expressively he is able to express it. So to me, technology is not a big challenge. We can overcome. Tourist guides can overcome. Tourist guides are essential. Okay, we go into the current situation, that is the coronavirus, COVID-19. The crisis has hit tourism in Malaysia hard. 2020 was to be the big year for Malaysia's tourism sector. Hotels and airlines were expecting millions of guests. What came was a virus. 2020 is a Visit Malaysia year. So we expected about 30 million tourists and 100 billion in yields. And with it, now the worst crisis Malaysia's tourism industry has ever faced. We have faced SARS, N1H1, Ebola, Nipah virus, all type of virus we do. But unfortunately, this is the worst we have ever faced. June 7 in Kuala Lumpur, the government's announcement that the domestic tourism sector can resume operations from June 10 will help the country accelerate its economic recovery phase. Yes, for almost about from March, they have practically closed all tourism attraction places. So June 10th, they have started to resume operations. And the government announced that the domestic tourism sector can resume operations from 10th June. And this has brought some cheer to the travel industry, which was crippled by the virus, which also led to the cancellation of the Visit Malaysia 2020 campaign. However, at the same time, these activities need to be carried out with utmost responsibility while practicing the new normal and strictly adhering to all standard operating procedures set by the National Security Council and the Ministry of Health. Currently, the new domestic tourism has been opened, and the tourist guides can start to look into this. They can venture. We will see later how the domestic tourism will assist the tourist guides. Whether tourist guides are essential and required for domestic tourism or not. You yourself can see whether how much domestic tourism will acquire tourist guides. You can see the pantai here in Langkawi, deserted. You can see the Sultan Abdul Samad building in Jalan Raja, Dataran Merdeka, deserted. These places are fully occupied. Indeed, my office is quite nearby here. We used to see the green-colored buses or bus persiaran buses parked here. And we used to even see DBKL people, enforcement, practically chasing them out because too crowded. Sometimes the buses are parked so much. So the new buses to come there is no place to even stop. This place is so crowded, and today it is now deserted. We can see nature in the forest also. It is always, these places are fully ventured by tourists. Today is deserted. So when it's desertion, it is not only tour guides, all the people involved in this business are also in the dark. Okay, does domestic tourism require tourist guide? These are some of our analyses, my analysis, and you can see ecotourism, we still need tour guide. Nature tourism, we still need tour guides. Adventure, we still need tour guides. Heritage, we still need tourist guide. Forest and wilderness, we still need tourist guide. Agro-tourism, we still need tourist guide. Experiential tourism, we still need. So experiential, though homestay, we still need tourist guide. We can see all these places, ecotourism, heritage, agro, adventure, nature, experiential, forest and wilderness, we need tourist guide. Whether it is domestic or international, we still need tourist guide because they are the experts. The tourist guides are experts in this area. Without a tourist guide, anyone visit these places, they will be blurred because they won't know. They need to read, they need to understand. And if there's nobody to assist them to explain what is that, it's a waste of time going to these places. So to me, the requirement of tourist guide in these areas are really essential, and the potential for tourist guides taking tourists to these places is great. And we can explore, tourist guides can explore, and also can advise tour and travel operators that these are the tourist attraction places we can see tourists coming in. And the tour operators and travel operators, travel agents and tour operators can look into packaging itineraries and products for these places. We will go into see how the negative part of the tour guides at the moment for domestic tourism. Do we need a tour guide for city guide? City, if I am from Kuala Lumpur, do I need a city tour guide to go and see the places? No. International tourists, yes, they need to see the Sultan Abdul Samad building. They need a guide. They need to go. They wanted to go to the Twin Tower. They need a city guide. But domestic tourism, very seldom, unless if they are coming from the other part of the states, they may need a city guide. Groups, we cannot expect groups at the moment. Most of them will be coming in FIT. The reason is our ground handlers in the travel and tour operators, ground handlers in the other countries, they will send FITs rather than groups. Staff guide, you may not have it. Your own staff guide, you will not require at the moment because all these places are ecotourism, heritage, and agro-tourism. You may employ a specialist site tourist rather than staff tourist. Linguist also you may not require because at the moment domestic tourism, you don't require somebody who needs to speak Mandarin or German or Italian or French. The reason is all domestic tourism will be more on Malaysian language. That is, everybody will understand Bahasa Malaysia. Driver guide also might not require because, as I've said earlier, it is more to specialist in that particular area. So driver guide is also will be not required for domestic tourism. Shore excursion tourists, at the moment, cruise is on the hold. So there is no requirement for shore excursion, and shore excursion is more for international tourists or going outbound tourists. And lastly, sightseeing. Sightseeing is more to cities, more attractions and places are sightseeing. You may need it, but for domestic tourism, you may don't need that because Malaysians are well versed with their country, so they might not require a sightseeing tourist guide. So with the opening of the domestic tourism, tourist guides are still can be involved in ecotourism, heritage, agrotourism, adventure, nature, experiential tourism, and forest and wilderness. The other part of these tourists, until unless we get the international tourists, the red marks, the cross marks tourist guides are at the moment will be on a hold. Okay, post-pandemic travel, in the absence of a universal vaccination against the coronavirus, tighter constraints on the human mobility will remain in place, perhaps for a long time. The future of tourist guide, it all depends on this. on this. Indeed, I would say, recently I was interviewed in the by Astro, and in the interview, I was interviewed asking when will the borders will be open, when will be the tour and tourism will open, outbound and inbound. Indeed, my explanation there very clearly stated. Until unless the borders are open, airlines started to fly, airlines started to operate, aircraft started to fly, you will not get tourists. Tourists will only come when airlines started to operate. When will the airlines start to operate? When the borders are open. When will be the borders are open? When our country is declared by World Health Organization or recognized by other countries, our country is a green zone. Until then, we will be within the enclosed area we call self-lockdown. So, the second point will be if any of these countries or scientists finds a vaccination which can cure coronavirus, then you will see the immediate opening of the borders, the immediate travelers, the travelers will be traveling immediately. Until then, it is in the doom world. So tourist guide, not only the tourist guide, travel and tourism industry will be still on a hold and the time is unpredictable. Today, national COVID-19 strategies can be broadly separated into three categories. Number one is eradication. Number two is herd immunity. And number three is suppression of the coronavirus until a vaccine or cure is discovered. Eradication, completely, so far, none of the countries have declared that they are 100% free from COVID-19. There is some form of infection, spreading, and continuation is still there. So until unless a vaccine is found, eradication 100% is impossible. Herd immunity is a cluster-like. In that particular area, it is declared as green zone. Some of our states, the northern states, some of our states in Peninsular Malaysia have declared themselves as green zone. Or some of the herd community is infected. They are called also infected, clustered, and they are quarantined, isolated, so that the Ministry of Health can oversee them, observe them, and contain and control the spread of the COVID-19. Suppression is something which is you are more like lockdown, control the movement and suppress it. You bring it to narrow it down to zero. This is what our Director General of Ministry of Health is trying. He's suppressing it, but then he brought it to practically to zero, and we can see recently it has come from single digit to double digit again. Lock-ins that severely limit international travel, post-pandemic travel. This is one of the things. When lock-ins are continuous, international travel is limited and it is severely hit. If you see some of your in the news, most of the aeroplanes or aircrafts are parked like newly assembled plants. If you go to Boeing and Airbus plants, you can see after assembling, this one's completed, they will be parking the planes. And if you see to some of the car assembly plants, you can see the cars are parked. But now aeroplanes are parked in the airports like as if they are newly assembled and parked there. Bus persiarans are parked in some of the places, some of the garage, like as if they are just coming out of the assembly plant. So international travel is severely hit and limited because of the lock-ins. Tourism, trade, and travel more broadly will never be the same again. It is not going to be the same. Indeed, our Prime Minister said it will take about 3 to 4 years to come back. Minister of Tourism have said there will be at least 1 million jobs will be affected because of this COVID-19. 1 million jobs in the tourism industry will be affected. The full pattern remains unclear, but lock-ins are likely to slow the global economic recovery and to create another round of crisis, at least in small island economies that depend on short-stay international visitors. I would say, indeed, resorts, island tourism, mountain tourism, adventurous tourism are encouraged at the moment. So there will be check and balance. There will be some places of attractions still will able to recover soon compared to other places. Hotel industries will be hit. Hotel and airlines, hotels, travel agents are the ones who will be hit severely and recover the last. National COVID-19 strategies can be broadly separated into 3 categories. As I said earlier, eradication, herd immunity, and suppression of the coronavirus until a vaccine or cure is discovered. So for the travel and tour industries and the tourist guides, we pray for the vaccine to be found as soon as possible. The scientists will be the God for us now. A person who's going to find the vaccine for this COVID will be the God for everyone, and including for the tourist guide. Revival of tourism, I can say here, the uncertainty of COVID-19, only a vaccine can find the certainty in the tourism industry. Closed border, the border have to be open. In order to revive the tourism, the border has to be open. Revival of tourism, economy, it has to recover. Quarantine, it has to be free travel. Normal, it has become the new norm. So the tourism industry has to have these following things. First, they need to have the vaccine. Second, they need to have the borders to be open. Then you can see the economy will slowly recover. And the quarantine should be free. Quarantine should be taken off. Then only free travel will boost tourism. Once you still maintain quarantine, if a tourist coming into Malaysia and you are telling them to put them 14 days in quarantine, you will never see a tourist. No tourist would like to come here 14 days quarantine, then they go for tour. And the cost will be definitely will be not the normal cost. It will be double or triple or 4 times. So quarantine should be taken off. And end of the day, all this in order to have this, the tourism will be not the normal. It is going to be a new normal. And for the normal to come back, it will take 3 to 4 years. So we have no choice. We have to adopt the new norm. Meanwhile, the tourist guides and the travel and tourism industry players, we have to adopt to the new norm. It's a time for creativity, and it's the best time to do mutual support, the government and the private sectors, banking, financial institutions. We have to support each other. And it is the best time for training and seminars like this CTRE course. This is the best time for tourist guides to attend as many as possible, as many trainings and seminars as possible, to acquire more knowledge and to be the expert in your field. With that, I thank each and every participant who's participating in this CTRE program and wish you all the best. And we pray for the COVID-19 to subside and a new vaccine to be found as soon as possible. Thank you and wish you all the best. Once again, thank you very much.